Welcome back. In today's episode, we are going to continue with our e-commerce. In yesterday's, in the previous episode, we discussed a number of things. We looked at the farmer. We discussed the farmer profile. We did a lot of stuff. To the extent where we created a user and we created a farmer profile. Okay, so in today we are going to focus actually more on that. We are going to focus on the user, registering a user, and want to look at some different scenarios in our site. And by the way, this episode is going to be really important, and I think is going to mark a big point in the authentication system. So you should pay attention on how we are going to handle the registration of users. So today we want to look at user registration, taking in consideration their roles. Okay. So the first approach, I just want to first use, of course, is to first create the user endpoint. Okay. I'm just going to create this user endpoint. Okay. I'll create a user endpoint that is going to create this user. Okay, so the first thing, as we can see that in the user we have the name, email, and one thing you're going to add is a password. Okay, so one thing I'm just going to add here is going to be hashed password. It doesn't necessarily you add it as hashed password, but you could also add as just like that, hashed password. So whatever, just use, whether you use hashed password or use password, it's up to you. I think yes, maybe keep it as password, I don't know, and then you put this as a string. Okay, so you must have a password when you're registering a new user. At least one thing should have, these are three things. Okay, should have a name, email, and a password. Those three things must be there. And then there is this email verified and blah blah and other things. We can just leave it at that. So far we have this farmer profile. Okay, and today we are going to look at the farmer specifically. How do we take in consideration the role? How do we update the onboarding and all kind of stuff? Okay, so now I'm just going to first of all create an endpoint purposely for this user. So you could just first go to APIs, and then under here APIs you can create a new folder called users. Okay, so you could just go ahead and get this endpoint here for the user. Actually, I'm just going to write here route, so .js, route.js. Okay, so creating a user is really easy. I'm just going to grab this from somewhere. Like, let me see. On this, let me see. Anyways, I just like do it from scratch and I show you. So I could just get a normal like from the farmer. Anyways, they just do like this. Why don't we just do it from scratch? So just going to be export default async function. Okay, post, and then this takes in a request. Okay, so this is so the first thing I just do a try catch. Okay, just do a try catch, and then of course in this part here we're just going to first of all put console.log the error, and then after that we can just return next response. Okay, next response dot json. Okay, and here you could just return an object having the message. Okay, message, maybe you could just say something went wrong or whatever. Maybe failed to register user, failed to create a user. Okay, and then you could just go also put the error. Okay, we just go ahead and also attach the error, and then the most important thing of course is the status. So just give the status as 500. Okay, so down up here we can just try to create a user now. Okay, so here let's create a user. Of course, step number one, extract the credentials, extract the credentials from the user request credentials, and the first thing is XA const, and we can extract the name, email, and the password, okay, from the user request, from await request.json request.json. So that's the first step. So we extract the credentials, we check, so let's say check if the user already exists in the database, already exists in the DB. So before you register him, we have to first check if this user already exists in the DB. Okay, so here we just want to come and say check existing user, so say const existing user is equal to await db. Okay, db dot user dot find unique. Okay, but find unique, and of course we pass in the where. Okay, where email. Okay, so if we find this user, if existing user, so if the user is already existing, what we want to say, want to return from there. Next response, want to return .json. So what we can return basically here, we can return data as maybe null, and then we could just also give the message, and we say user already exists, user already exists, already exists. Okay, so this is and we can also just of course give status. So just go ahead and give status of 409, and this is a conflict because the user already exists in the DB. Okay, so if this step is not right, if the user does not exist, so you can just go ahead and register the user. So const new user, so you say new user is equal to await db. So the first thing actually before we register the new user, okay, you say new user is equal to await, okay, db dot user, okay, dot create. So here supposed to create a new, so this takes in data, and the data here is supposed to come and have of course name, email, and the password. But now this password has to be encrypted. Okay, it has to be encrypted before we save it to the database. So that means before that step we have to encrypt the password. So here we encrypt the password, Okay, so just encrypt this password, and you're just going to use bcrypt. Okay, so you're going to use you're just going to use bcrypt. I don't know if this is the spelling, bcrypt. Okay, so we're just going to first install the, I'm just going to stop the server. After all, I want to update the, I want to change also, we changed something in the Prisma. If you remember, we added the password. We haven't pushed that change here, so I'm just going to stop the server and push that. So first of all, I'm just going to say, so I'm just going to run npx prisma db push. Okay, when this is done, I just want to run npm run dev. I don't know if that one's going to work, but then on the other side, let's be installing the bcrypt. So you can just come here and search for the bcrypt. You can just say something like npm bcrypt, something like that. Okay, so bcrypt is here, is a package for hashing the passwords. Okay, so it is here. Just copy this command, npm install bcrypt. Yes, go ahead and install this here. Okay, just go ahead and install this. And I don't know what is happening this side. I think the command hasn't started running yet. Let's just wait and see what is going to happen. Meanwhile, the bcrypt is going on this side. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize this here, and let me just go back to the user's route. So here we have to encrypt the password. Okay, so the bcrypt is still installing. So the bcrypt has two important functions. It has the hash password for the hashing, and it also has the compare function when you are comparing the existing hashed password. And we will use the compare in the login functionality when we reach that type. But right now, what we want is, so I'm just going to say const hashed password. Hashed password is equal to, so we just say, I think it's await bcrypt. So you say await bcrypt. Do I know the spelling of bcrypt? Bcrypt. Okay, so you could just import this, and if it is not importing automatically, you can just get it here, and you say import bcrypt. So import bcrypt from bcrypt. Okay, just like that. So import bcrypt from bcrypt, and then we can just use this bcrypt here. So await bcrypt dot, so it has this hash method, and this hash method is in the raw password. So you can just like pass in a raw password and the sort round, like how many times should be encrypted, and this is the stuff. So here we get the hashed password, and then we can just come and pass it here, password as hashed password. Okay, so that is cool. So we have the user at this point registered, so we could just of course go ahead and return, of course we could just say console.log, of course, the new user to confirm if this, and then I could just say return. Okay, so return next response, and in the next response we could just return the new user. Next response actually .json. Okay, return next response.json, and you can pass in the new user, or if you wanted you could just pass in as data. Okay, and just like pass in direct as the new user, as simple as that. Okay, and you could just go ahead and just like pass in just as simple as that. Okay, so let's just go and see what is happening this side of the first bash. Okay, so it started the server, hoping that everything up here ran. Yeah, so the database is in sync, generated Prisma client, and it also started the server. Okay, so cool. I'm just going to now, at this point we have the endpoint that is working. Okay, this one should be able to register a new user. Okay, and what do we want to achieve right now? So what we want to achieve right now is that want to create a normal user registration page where like a normal client comes and registers. So I'm just going to go here in the client side. Okay, so under the app, so you have this front. I'm just going to create two folders under here in the front page. I'm just going to actually get the register function, the register page, sorry. So I just create here register, and I'm just going to have this page. Where is it? So fire, I'm just going to have page.jsx. So this is where people will be registering from. Like if someone just goes on / register, they should be able to register. So just going to say RFC right now. Okay, RFC, and this is a register page. So I'm just going to say register. Okay, just like that. So if I just go ahead and hit this endpoint, I'm just going to go ahead and hit this endpoint, just put here /register, just like that. Okay, so at this point in time we should just look at like we hit the register functionality, like we have the register page working. Okay, let's just wait and see. And meanwhile, as we just like visiting this page, if you just go back to this documentation, you will just notice that I added another piece of document here. We have this user registration, so you can just simply click on this user registration. Okay, and then we will have this the register page. It is just like a bunch of HTML, and you can just even just go to this flow byte here and you type in register. Okay, you can just simply come here and you can simply type in register. Okay, like you have the register forms there, so I'm not going to be there designing so much onto this. Want to focus onto the logic. If you just want the page, the register form is here, you could just have this they have the form inputs. Actually the register form is here. You register an account, so you can just come here and just simply copy this, but I'm just going to have that one and we use it. So you have this page where we have the register. I'm just going to go ahead and add this small piece. There is this here, the register page. I'm just going to copy here and simply replace all this. So if you just look at this, it's supposed to have the register form component. Just going to switch this off and also this off, and let's look at what we have so far. So if I go back to this page now, let's refresh and see. So you see we have this create new account, and then we have also this word or system. So right now we're just going to replace that with our own. Okay, so we could just say Limi for now, Limi Commerce, or whatever the logo you want to put here, Limi Commerce, and they can change the logo here, whatever you just want, you can do that. Okay, so we have here the create an account. Okay, create a new account. So if we have this now, okay, we have create a new account. So what we just need is a form, and I also have the form here, okay, as a register form component. So as you can see, we had this register form. Simply go ahead and create a component in the components. So under components, you can just create it inside the front end, because this is under front end, new file, and you just say register form .jsx, and you can just go ahead and populate it with this form here. Okay, there is not much logic into this, as you are going to see. Just going to say this is a bunch of HTML I got from Frobite. If up to this point you have issues with styling, you should just watch some styling videos, but right now we just want to focus on some logic. Okay, first of all, we need to install React icons, as I'm just going to, as I use it, I don't think we even need them actually. In the form there is a part we do not need. Just a second. Okay, just a second. Okay, just going to update some of the things in this form. Okay, for instance, this part where we say "oh", so there is this part where we have this login and sign up with Gmail. We don't need this. We can just remove this part here, and even this part of all of it, just like that. And that means I don't need these React icons here. I'm just removing the part which is for so right now this is going to be now populated. Let's go ahead and go back to this, put back this, and also just put back these components. And I think it is coming from something else. Let's just import it. So just come back here in this register page we created and add this component, the register form component. Import it. Okay, it is coming from components front end. Okay, so if you just now go here, let's go and see. Sign in, we don't need the sign in right now in this. Okay, this one we don't have next auth or anything like that, and that means, okay, let's just see. Let's just wait and see. Okay, so we have this small form component. Okay, I'm just going to brush out this in a second, whereby we use the other components we built. Though these ones look nice, I like them. Okay, they look really nice. We could just like maintain this, and let's just add some space on this button after the password. After the password, so on this label for the password, let me just add a class name is equal to, you can just add margin bottom of maybe 6. Okay, so that it is somehow having a space with the button. Okay, that one did not work. What happened? I don't know why that one didn't happen. we could just now put it on this, on the button. Maybe we just specify margin top, and just say margin top 6. Okay, and let's see, and even on this one, let's just say margin top 6. Okay, like it is not showing like any chances of what? I don't know why would that happen. So we have the label, we have the input. Let me just see. I don't know why would this not work. Okay. I don't know why is that not affecting it. Let's just say. I don't know, because is it because of this space Y? Let's just some of this. I don't think it is having anything to do with that. Margin bottom of 2. And the way it adds like margin bottom, but here it is not reflecting. Okay, so it has worked. Okay, and now this one just make them like maybe 4. Just have some spaces. Let's see, and let's see. Okay, so yeah, this has some spaces at least. Okay, and then this one maybe also 4. Yeah, okay, so that is great. Then this p tag also after this, okay, you could just add like a padding y of 4 maybe, and that, so just add also a nice spacing on this. Okay, so this can work for now. Like for creating an account, you can create a more nice than this. Okay, but this one will serve the purpose. Okay, this one will serve really the purpose. Okay, so this is a normal user basically, and I feel like however much the code is too much, I think we can just try to reduce this. For instance, here we could use the submit button. So instead of using this whole thing, we can just go and use the submit button. We have the submit button made already. Okay, let's just use that submit button. Okay, submit button, just like that. And in the submit button, we only need 3 things, the way you see them here. We need is loading, button title, and loading button title. Those 3 things, we just need them here. Okay, is loading. Okay, just going to give is loading, and here is, we give it as loading. And then we have button title, and yes, we're going to give button title as maybe register. And then we have loading button title, and this one I'm just going to give it as, I'm just going to come here and I say registering, please wait. Okay, so maybe just say creating whatever I just want, creating, please wait. So just like trying to clean up this to look more elegant. Let's look at that. Okay, so we have this, and this is the our style, of course, for this is our style for the whole entire e-commerce, which means we remain consistent. Okay, so I just go here also onto this one. Okay, where we have this as the password. I'm just going to come here actually and just to do text input. So just going to say text let's try to see how this one look like. Text input. And what do we need on the text input? We need a number of things actually. If you look at this, just copy all these ones and let's add them here. So we need a label. So label is automatically password. Okay, and then we need a name. We need a name which is password. Okay, then we need the register function which is register. Then we need errors which is also errors. Then we need is required, by default is true, so can just leave it. And then we have type is password. Okay, and then we just need class name, and then they just leave the class name and see what, and then the default value. So remove that and let's see, look at that, how it looks like. Okay, so we here have type password, and yeah, it looks elegant. Okay, so we have that. So you can just like put all these ones here. So simply copy this, and this one is for the email, I guess. So let's just put here email. So just put label as email, address, name is email, register it is type is email. Okay, and then finally we have this one which is the name. So just add this, and then you say here label is your full name. Okay, your full name. Name here is name, and the type is text. Okay, so when we look at our form, okay, so it's having all these. Okay, I feel like the spaces also they are somehow lacking, of which we can just work on. Maybe like on the text input, let's first see, for instance, here on the class name. If you look at them, they don't have like margin bottom. So since we have the class name, we could just pass in the class name here. So you see, you can pass in the whole class name. So you could just like pass in this whole thing as the class name. So just here we can just say the class name, and then you pass in this, and then you just say margin bottom 3, maybe just say 3. Let's see if this one works. Yeah, so you can see this works. It can push it down. So you can just simply pass all these here. You pass in the class name, and finally I think also this. Yep, so we have some little bit more space right now. So it is having the everything. So right now what we want is to register this person, and this is just like a normal person who comes here, is a normal user. Okay, this one would be a really normal user. Okay, so we just want to come here on top here. Okay, now you can see we have async function. This one is picking the data. If I just go here, let me just make sure before we test out anything, I just want to confirm that the data is being sent. Just going to press F12. Okay, just going to press F12. I could just say inspect. Okay, let's go to the console and let's clear everything, and let me just fake fill this and just add here. So you can see at least we have the email, name and password, and these are the three things we need in this endpoint. As you can see, we need the name, email and password. So at this point we are in position to send the data to this endpoint, which is API users. So if I just go back to the register, okay, so we have this. Now we could decide to use our register endpoint. You already know we have this function in the libs API request. We already have this scenario here. Okay, though I just want to, I will modify it a little bit. Okay, we'll modify more especially onto this part here. Okay, let's just go and try to use this function and see. So if you look at this function, I'm just going to, instead of putting all this, that's why we created that function. If you look at all this is the same thing. We set the loading to true. We have the base. We have this one, which is base URL API users, whatever, where you are sending the data to the endpoint. You'll wait for this data. Okay, you wait for the data, and if the response is okay, you can have your data back. Now specifically for this, I think we might just don't use the other one. We use this normal one because there are more things I want to do. Okay, there are more things I want to do that are specific to this endpoint, so we're just going to stick to this one for now. But just go through it. So at this point you all know that we have here, I have a use router. This one is going to pass in redirecting the users. So the purpose of use of the router is you can redirect, and this one works on the client side. Okay, so if you want to use routing on the server side, you can use redirect, but if you use router, it's going to be specifically for the client side. So we have of course our register and handle all this stuff here. Down here we have the loading state. Okay, then we have the set email. Okay, there you're going to look at this what set email does, but basically what we want is checking for this. If you saw this step here where we check this user here, okay, we need to check this. Okay, so we need to check this here. Okay, yep, so that's why we need this. Okay, so I'm just going to go back here to the register. Okay, and now we have the base URL. Now you have to make sure that this you have it in your env file. So if you check in the my env.env, I have this next public base URL. You must have this one in your env file. Let's go back. So that's why you have this base URL. And then we are making a response. Response is a wait fetch base URL API users. Okay, this one, make sure that we are sending the data to the API to the API users endpoint, which is our endpoint here. Method post content blah blah. Then we send the data. We have already seen the data at this point. Now we have here, of course, if the response is okay. Now I'm just going to just get this the response data. I'm just going to put inside here, and I'm just also going to console.log this, the response data, or in other words, this is a user. We could just say user data. Maybe this is specifically for the user data, and we can just console this user data, and this is specifically the new user, okay, new user. The one has been created. We can get back the data, and there is a reason why we need this data. So just going to console.log this new user. We can set loading this. We can toast user created successfully. We can reset, and now you can route. Right now I don't want to route to anywhere. Let me first put off that. Now it is okay. It is if the response is not okay, sometimes the response will come when it is not okay. That means it will just end up in this errors, and in this errors we check if the response status is 409. Okay, if we check this response status 409 is corresponding to this status here of the existing user. So if you look at this here, we can have this as existing user. So if you just look at this here, we have user already exists. Okay, and I want to get this message instead. So we could just come here, and we could just use like this the custom message, and you can see here we are saying set email error. User with this email already exists, and we have also toast.error user with this email already exists. Now we could just go ahead, this email error, we could just go ahead and display it. We could just go and display it under this here. Okay, and you could just say, for instance, you could check for the email error if this exists. Okay, if this exists, and then we show like a p tag. Sorry, we could just go ahead and show a p tag, and which says email error. So just put here the email error here, and we could just give this, of course, a class name of text red, maybe 600. Okay, and this one I'm just going to rename it small. Okay, so we could just rename it to this. Okay, and we can check this out by giving it some data. I'm just going to give it something here, and we first see how it looks on the UI. Okay, so this is where it is going to be put on the UI. Okay, or we could just like actually just not even show it there. Okay, we're just going to use it where we just like toasting here. We have this toast still, so it can still serve the purpose, but if you want still, we could just show it here. I'm just going to specifically give it a negative margin top of maybe 2, and let's just see now. Let's just go back and give it something. Okay, I just see, just simply just like try to customize. Okay, margin top. Okay, just like give that, and let's give a margin bottom of 2 as well, just to add some space with this one. Okay, so that is good. We can just customize and show the error there. Okay, if this happens. Okay, that's enough. I'm just going to go ahead and remove this. Okay, so it's not going to show up. Okay, so we are just understanding how this one is moving. If everything goes well, we just simply want to console.log the new user, and we also want to toast this success message, user created successfully. Okay, and if there is something wrong, we just need to first check the status. If it is 409, okay, we just know this is the other the conflict, the user already exists. We can do this. Else we can just say of course server error, or we just say something went wrong, and we can just look at this here. Okay, we're just calling it response data, and that's why I think the reason why I had put this one outside. Okay, you can just like put outside here. Okay, and then we can just all of us use it inside, and we can just say okay, they just call it like response data, the word code it, just to generalize it, response data, and we can just look at the message. Now that's why if you are going to give this response, it should have a uniform thing, because you're seeing here we are looking for this message. So if you go back to the routing, and this is part of the error handling, if you are giving your response in this format, okay, where we have data and message and this, so we should be also consistent. Okay, when you are just using this format, you can see here we have this format where we have data and message, and then we have also the status. So you could just like move this across everywhere, so wherever you have anything, you have this format, the response. So I'm just going to copy this, and I show you how it applies. For instance, here when we got a new user, so instead we could just paste this here, and we just have data, which at this point is going to be the new user. Okay, and then the message could be like user created successfully, so user created successfully. Okay, and then the status of course is 201, like new resource created. Now even here when there is a problem, we could still put it in this very format. Data, we just give data as null, we give message, okay, we give message, and this one we could just say, for instance, server error. Okay, server error. Okay, something, maybe we just say something went wrong, just like that. Something went wrong, and here is 500. So you could just give everything just always just like this. Okay, now in this case here, you could have you can just also modify this, and you add like the error. Okay, so for instance, you could just, since you have here the error, we could just go ahead and modify this, and we just say error instead of data. So you could just see, come here and we say just give us the error so that you can capture it on the front end. Okay, so but we have this as our stuff. So now when we come back at this side, we are able to do things like response.message. Okay, and here of course we could just go ahead and also console.log the whole response here. Okay, we have here, for instance, you have seen, we can just say dot error. Okay, if there is any errors on the server. Okay, so we are having now this. Okay, let's just go and test this out. Okay, everything is the way we want. I'm just going to come back here. Okay, and I'm just going to create any user test. I just say here the full name is testing test John, and then email is test@gmail.com, test@gmail.com, and the password is going to be password, or test actually. The password is going to be test. So just go ahead and do the register. So creating, please wait. We have the data here. Okay, we can see the data. So now it is creating and something went wrong. Please try again. So you just look at what happened. First of all, 405 method not allowed. Okay, let's just go to the console to get more details about this error. Okay, I'm seeing here compiling not found. Okay, so that is not here. Scroll down. Okay, so here API user detected default export no HTTP method exported in export named. So I think it is just here in this route. Okay, here there is no need of a default export async function. I think all routes are like that. Let's just go to any of the routes and say it's just supposed to be export async function. So there is no need of putting default. They are not like default exported as default, just export async function. Okay, I think that is the problem. Okay, so at least you can see that our functionality is working because we have something went wrong, and this one was coming from this part here. Just go back to the front end. It was coming from this part here. At least something went wrong. Please try again. It was nice. Just go ahead and try again right now since we have changed register. Okay, we have the data here, and we just wait and see. Okay, it is creating. Please wait. Just wait and see. Okay, oops, something went wrong. Okay, server error. If you just look at here, we have server error and we have the whole error here, but of course we can just look at it in details here on the console, I guess. Prisma.user. A socket operation attempted and unreachable, blah blah, and this normally happens. Okay, to test out what is happening, let's just duplicate this page, and we could just request something like API. Let's just request API coupons or something. The ones we know it is there. Let's just get like coupons. Let's just see. Sometimes I don't know what happens, whether it is like MongoDB sleeping, but sometimes you can request for the resource and the database is not there. Okay, no, I don't know what is really happening right now. So you can see here the same thing. So just keep on like requesting until they come. You just know I think they keep on sleeping the database. I'm not sure about that, but sometimes you can request and the data is not coming, so you can just see here, keep refreshing, and then and also keep check the data, and you can see we are not having data right now. Actually, it might just be like you just confirm you have the data connection before you make the requests, because we are using MongoDB online. Let me just go ahead and put back my network. I don't know why it jumped off, but I just put it back and then we see. Okay, so it is back. Let me just go in here, make a request. Okay, so you can see we have the coupon, so that means it is back. So you can just go ahead and right now and test. Okay, we had this problem. We just like now create and just wait and see. Okay, so user created successfully. Now if you look in this, we have back the data, guys. Okay, I want you to look at this. So we have back the data. Look at the data. So we have this, we have two things, the data and the message. So this is coming from, even the user is here, I guess, printed on the console, I guess, somehow. Okay, and you can see we successfully have the user here and the role also put as the user. Okay, that is great. And that is a big thing, by the way. By default, you can see that it is working. The role is set as a user. Okay, so now we have back we are getting back this whole thing. As you can see, we have it as the data and the message. Okay, so if you just come back to this is how we sent it back. If you remember very well, after registering, we sent back the user as here as data as new user and then the message. This is good if you don't want to customize. You can even get the messages from this side. Okay, so now let's just go back here. What do we want with this user? By the way, we're just going to try to create the same user and we see what happens. Okay, I'm just want to create the same exact user like this one. So I'm just going to populate this with some fake data, except that this email, I'm just going to change this email to test. Okay, because the email here was test at Gmail. Okay, I'm just going to use this test at gmail.com. Okay, I'm just going to use this, the different name but the same email, and then we have this password here. Okay, and by the way, when you look at the we have this data. Okay, we have this that is looking nice. Now one thing I just want to do now, let's just see if I try to create right now. Okay, let's try to create and see we have the same email. Okay guys, look at this, user with this email already exists, and then we also have the error here coming, user with this email already exists. Okay, and you can see here even this on the console 409 conflict, and it gives us this one, and this is great guys. There are very few guys who saw how to capture this error, and I went ahead to research and show you how we can capture this error of user with this email already exists, and we have it here. Okay, so this is great because we cannot go ahead and register now any user. Okay, and for that matter, just in a second, I just want to add an endpoint for getting or registered. I'm just going to go to any place we have the let me just go like to coupons and get the get endpoint, this one, and let's go to the route and let's get all users. Okay, I'm just going to get all users. So here users const users actually. Okay, is await db.user order by just leave this, and now you can see this. Okay, that's what I'm saying. If you just return coupons, you could just like do that. If you wanted, you want to receive the message or blah blah and other things, you could just go ahead and do that. And by the way, if you look at this, I'm just going to show you in a second. If you see that we do not add the status, I just want to show you that in a second. When we create a new user here, okay, where is it? Okay, here after creating the new user, so we actually also passed in the status. Okay, clear. That's what I want to just check. Okay, so just get here the get users. So db find this, return these as users. Here, users. Okay, error, and then I could have the message fetch the users. Okay, error 500. Okay, so cool. Okay, so now what I just want, we could just go quickly and check here like the users. Okay, could check that we have one user actually right now, I guess. Okay, so you can see we have one user with the role user. Okay, so the purpose of this, now we can register the user. So what is the way forward? How would we register a farmer? Because this is a normal user, okay? This is a normal customer. He has come to buy something on our e-commerce. We have redirected him to this page, register. He goes ahead and register. Now for this, for the purpose of the farmer, what we want is, remember this is on the register. If I go back to this page here, normally if you check on other websites, I'm just going to show you, for instance, if you went to Jumia or any other website whereby they have like multiple users, okay, they normally put like in the footer, you will just check that. I'm just going to scroll down very fast. So if you just scroll down up to the footer, this is normally where they put those unique links for like referrals and other things. So if you just see here in the footer, they have this here, okay? They have like become a sales consultant, and these are different users. You get, these are different, like a sales consultant, a logistics service partner, a delivery agent, a B2B. All these are different types of users. Now we are going to put a link somewhere, and for now, for simplicity, we'll put it on the localhost. So I'm just going to go to the front end, and on the page, you're just going to put it on the page here somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to add a page here where we have a link. So just going to have a link whereby we say here, I'm just going to say register as, okay, become a farmer, maybe become a farmer, okay, become a farmer. So just put this link which says become a farmer, and we would want to put an href. Okay, we could just send it to any endpoint. Maybe we just say register as a farmer. We could just create this endpoint, register farmer, just like this. Okay, we could create an endpoint just like this. Okay, now this is actually when just someone creates to become a farmer, let's send them on this normal page. Okay, we could just go ahead and send them to this page. Actually, just call it just like that, register farmer, just like that. Okay, and we are sending them to this endpoint. I'm just going to create it here, register farmer. So we have this register and register farmer. So create this, call it register farmer. Okay, and since it's going to be a page, I'm just going to say /page.jsx. Okay, so this one will create for me also this, and we could just say RFC, and down here I'm just going to say register as a farmer. Okay, register as a farmer. Okay, so someone, if they click on this link now on the page, they just go to this page, become a farmer. Let's go back to our e-commerce. We have it here. Let me just simply give it a class name. Okay, let's just go first of all, give it imagine y maybe of 4, and let's just give it underline, and let's also give it yeah, I just leave it just like that. I think that is enough. So I'm just going to click onto this page. So here I want to register a someone has seen and you want to supply us with, or you want to create, you can just say create a farmer or become a vendor. This any name you want to use here, stroke vendor, okay, stroke supplier, whatever you just want to call this person. Okay, so on this here, want to have this link. When someone clicks it, we are just going to this page. Okay, but we want to register them. Okay, we want to register them using the same form, because is a user, but what changes here is just a role. Okay, what only changes is a role. That's the only thing that is changing. Okay, so what we can just do, first of all, I can just reach onto this component here, and I could of course call upon this register component. Okay, I can just go ahead and I call this register component, and it will call everything that is in this component. Okay, so now let me just show you in this register. In fact, I could just copy this, since the only thing that is changing is this the register form. Let me show you. I'm just going to copy this. Now I could create this as a component, as this whole thing, but I'm just going to simply copy only this return here. Okay, just like this, and I'm just going to come here to this page, register farmer. Where is it? Register farmer. Just in this one, just put this here. Okay. Okay, so we have this page, and we also have the register. We can just import this. Okay, so if you go on this page, register farmer, basically we just like changing the route here, register farmer, but we are still using the same thing here. If you wanted, you could indicate anything, maybe the background you put for the farmer, you change this background to have like some fruits, you know, customize it the way you want. Okay, you could just even, now we're just going to talk about this customization. So here, what we want first of all is we want this person to create an account. Okay, so when he comes here, he clicks on register as a farmer. We want him to create an account. The only change that we want that is going to change onto this person is that the when we are registering him, we want the role to change. Okay, so what I mean is, by default, I'm just going to have an input. Okay, by default, I'm just going to have an input. So I just want to have an input here. Okay, I'm just going to have an input where, if I just go ahead and add one input here, let me show you. If I add here an input and you see here role, maybe let me just give it role name, role, and then of course one thing I can of course give it is the default value. We show that I can just give it user. Okay, so if I put this, we go back here, let's see. Okay, so you have one thing called role user. Okay, we have one thing called role user. Now this, we want to add it, and this one, now if you go back to the register, here on the register, you still have the same thing. Okay, so when someone is registering normally, we want them to have a role of a user. Let's say this is a person who went to e-commerce, like this one. If you tap on account and you tap on sign in, they will take you to register function, to the register. You will be normal register. But if you just went to this link here, become a sales consultant or whatever, they will take you to a different page. Okay, they will take you to any different page. It can even be a subdomain or whatever, but they will take you a different page. Okay, you can see here, they will take you to a different page and they can show you different things. Okay, by the end of the day, they will just have a form somewhere. Okay, they will have a form somewhere. So that's the same concept. We have here our register, but what is the purpose of embedding the role? So what we want, if someone comes here by default, want to give them a role of a user. So now I could pass this role in this component as, okay, so if I just accept here as a role, okay, by default I just want to pass this as a role, and I can just come here on the default value. Okay, on the default value, where is it? Down here, default value here, and I'm just going to pass this as role, just like this. Okay, now whatever we are calling this register form function, we can pass in a role. Okay, so if I just go back to this register place, so the register, this normal register function, if you are under this route of register, we want to simply give you a nice role of user. So here I can pass a role here, role, and I can just say role here is a user. And then like on this register page, I can pass in a role of farmer. So if I just pass in here as a farmer, and we know this is also, by the way, the role you specify here, make sure it is matching with the one we have in the Prisma as, because we have these three roles here, you add these four roles here. Make sure the role you are specifying falls under these roles here. Okay, so I have this register. Now let's see if the magic happens. Okay, so I'm just on this register. We are still having this. I'm just going to refresh to confirm really I'm getting this user here. Let's just go ahead and check register farmer. Okay, just go ahead and see this, and you can see the role here is a farmer, and this is what we want. So the trick here is that we have this. If I go ahead and now register from this endpoint, okay, let me just go and populate anything here. Okay, of course we don't want this one to change. Okay, we could also pass in read only, but this doesn't matter because we are not going to let me just do this. We are not going to show this to the user. In a point I will hide it, but just say I have here user. I'm just going to say Gerard. Okay, Gerard, John, whatever, and just say email address. I'm just going to say Gerard at Gmail. I don't need to remember this. At gmail.com. Password is password, just like that. So if I just go ahead and I just create this user now, let's actually see. Now this role, remember we are now passing in the role. Okay, so we must accept this role in this user. If you check here the user, we are creating him, but we are only accepting 3 things. We can just go ahead and also get the role just in case it is there. We just come here and we can just create a role here. So just pass in the role down the road, just like that, and that's enough. Now since we have passed the role, I'm just going to come here and try to create a user now from this side of the farmer's side. So if I create here registering, please wait. Okay, by the way, we can also just look at if to user created. Okay, that's good. We have here the objects, and you can see the role is passed down, and even the coming, I think the one that has been created, we have this data, all of it now. We have the created email, verified ID, name, and look at the role farmer, and the role now has changed to farmer, which is something we want. Okay, this is great. Now what I just now want to do, okay, what I just want to do is we have this role, but we do not want it to be seen. Okay, so I think we can just only pass in one thing in this page here. Okay, we can pass in the register form where we have type. Okay, where we have type here. Okay, we can just pass in the type instead of text. Let's pass in hidden. Okay, so if you pass in hidden, this one must go now off. Okay, now of course we also just don't want this one to remain. Okay, and we could just the label, I don't think it needs a label. So you just like pass in a label like this, maybe. Let me just see. Yeah, so you can just pass in a label as empty, and then it will just go off, but we have our name, role. Okay, let's right now try to register another person from this end. We see if it actually has the role on it. Now the one thing I'm just going to try, I'm just going to say, I'm just like John test. So John test at John, just going to pass in John at gmail.com, and the password is going to be John. Okay, John, as simple as that. Just create this user. Let's try to see what is going to happen. Okay, so you have user created successfully. Now we're just going to go and check the users we have here. Of course, we have John test and the role as a farmer. And now successfully, now we have the manipulation of the roles. Okay, if someone registers from this endpoint, is going to be a farmer. So where do we want to put them after this? Because normally when a farmer, after they have registered, or a supplier, let's say this was supposed to be a supplier, after they have registered, they have to go to the onboarding page. Okay, they have to go to the onboarding. Now we want to create an onboarding page, but for a specific user. Okay, we have to go to an onboarding page, but for a specific user. So for that, we have to route a user. Now I'm just going to create an endpoint. Okay, I'm just going to create an endpoint, and this endpoint is also going to be on the client. Okay, so front end, I'm just going to create a new folder here called onboarding. Okay, onboarding. Okay, like this is a person we are trying to now. So onboarding, inside it, I'm just going to create another folder. So I just created this one first. Inside this, I'm just create another folder for a specific user. Okay, I'm just going to say here ID. Okay, just like this. And then inside this, I'm just going to write page. Okay, page.jsx. Okay, RFC, just like that. And I'm just going to say here on this page, okay, I'm just going to say user onboarding page. So user onboarding page. Okay, so this page here, you only go there if a person is already registered on the system. And if you just want to confirm that, I can just simply just duplicate this just like that, and just go to this page onboarding. Okay, so this is going to be onboarding stock any ID. So any number you put in here, you enter. This one should give us that page. Let me just check the spelling once again. Is onboarding. Okay, so you can see here we are on user onboarding. So we have onboarding, and then we must have a particular user here who is existing, of course, in our database. Okay, so we'll have to now verify the user who is coming here. So the plan is, when a farmer after registers here, we want to redirect them to onboarding, where they give us more information. Okay, they have to give us more information about themselves. Okay, so we want to redirect them onto this page. Okay, so when we just think about that, of course we have this page already designed. I think that is the one we have on farmers new. If you check on the dashboard and you go to under farmers and you get new page, I think whatever we have onto this page here, okay, and this one was renamed as new farmer. Of course, we might modify this to say update farm or something. Okay, but this one is an information that we are just having. So if I just come here and I just try to actually return this, let me show you. So if I just come here to this page here and I just want to return this, okay, just this as a component. So just come and say new farmer, because this is a component and we can import it actually just like that. So if I just try to go to this page now, let's see. Okay, refresh. Okay, so you can see now we have this new farmer. Of course, we don't want this to come. We might just have to only just actually put this only this new farmer as in brackets, but this is registering as a new farmer. And I think if he cancels here, it goes to the previous page, like on the register. But I just go to this page. So here is when we tell them to tell us more about themselves. Okay, now if already we have a registered farmer, okay, now here we could actually get the full name, populate it here. If some of this information is already there, we can just populate it here. Okay, we're just going to see like the email address. If it is already there, we can just populate this information here, and then like the farmer profile image, the which crops do they use or do they want to supply, Okay, those kind of things we can just ask the information. How big is their land? Okay, what is their annual production or seasonal production? We could just ask them a number of questions, and this is specific to whatever you are dealing with. If it's a supplier or is anything, we can just do that. Okay, so I'm just going to, we have to a little bit customize this. Okay, we have to somehow try to customize this, and how I can customize that is by going to this new farmer here and try to do some changes. I will not do much changes, but instead this form, I'm just going to call this one new farmer form. So I'm just going to copy this, or even cut it. I just copy, just go to this components. So just go to components, and you could just go to back office or whatever you want. You just create here a new file. Okay, I'm just going to say here new farmer. In fact, like onboarding farmer, we could just call this one as onboarding farmer or whatever. We could just say call him new farmer. Anyways, new farmer dot jsx. Okay, so new farmer dot jsx, and just click on that and just go here and let's say RFC, and then on the return, let's just simply return this from here. Okay, so I guess everything should remain exactly the way it is. Do we need to shift all the code? Yep, I think we need to just go back here for a second. I think so. So just do this. So just copy everything here and just go here to this new farmer. Okay, just this reset and control, just put everything the way it is right now here. Okay, this one is new farmer. Just going to say new farmer, maybe form, as simple as that. Okay, and then what we just don't want is it should just only return, I think, this header. We can remove this header here. It should just only return the form. Okay, just put back the form here, and now things should remain working the way they are supposed to be, I guess. Change this to also new farmer form. Okay, new farmer form. Okay, just like that, new farmer form, and then make sure it is the same name you just gave here. Okay, so this one now, if we just go back to the farmers, we could remove everything. Okay, we could just remove everything here, remove everything just like this. Now here we just pass in this here instead of this form, we could just call the new farmer form just like this, and now this should just remain everything where it has this header. Okay, now of course this one is going to, you can see to actually remained. That means it is working. If you just like refresh, you see everything just remain the way it is. But if you just go and change to new farmer form, so I just go to onboarding somewhere here, and I just say change this to new farmer form, just like that, and just going to remove this. So now the difference is that it doesn't have the header now. We can put anything we want onto this, so I can just come and customize this. Okay, and I can just say return. I'm just going to return a div. Okay, just return a div here. First of all, I can just add a heading, maybe h2, and I say tell us more about yourself. Okay, and then here we just now add this. Of course, I'm just going to simply use a flex score, and just maybe give like a gap of 6. So we'll just have this while we have like this heading now. Okay, now to make sure that this is also in the center, you could just go and see in this new form, you will see that it is inside this max radius of 4. Okay, so you could just go and simply so put this max width, just to be consistent here. Okay, with this one you could just put this one also in another div. So just put just paste this, and then let's put this this inside here. Okay, so if we just go back here, this one should be now here, starting from here. What? Just say MX auto. Okay, so let's just put here. Okay, so it is here, and that's okay. So tell us more about yourself. You could just go ahead and give this whole thing a padding. Okay, so just a padding of maybe 16 or whatever you just want to give. Just give some space, maybe top and bottom. Okay, yeah. So you just bring them on this page. Remember, of course, in other pages it will have the header and the footer as well, so don't worry about that. So right now, just say tell more about yourself, and then we have this information. Okay, so this is cool, where we are just having this, and this is an onboarding farmer. So how do we send this farmer at this point here? Okay, this page want to call it maybe onboarding farmer. Actually, we could just like even call this onboarding farmer, that folder, if we wanted. Okay, we could just call this one as onboarding farmer, but let's just leave it just like that, onboarding, because in the future we could just like show even onboarding customer, onboarding supplier, onboarding moderator from this page still. Okay, so we have this now. I like this. The first question is, so onto this page we want first identify the person who is coming here. Okay, it is very easy to identify. We can use this ID here. Okay, it is very easy to identify, so we can pass in that ID, and then we can get this ID here as params, and then from the params we can just get the ID. Okay, this is how we can extract this ID. If I just go here and I say console.log ID, we can just get this ID on the terminal. I'm just going to go to the terminal here, scroll down, scroll just like this, and you see I have the ID on the terminal, and this ID is this one. So it's very easy to get on the server side. This is how you can get the ID using the params. Okay, so after getting this ID, so that means I can fetch, okay, I can fetch the user, Okay, and you're just going to need a function for fetching data. Okay, just like this. Let me just see. Okay, let's see here. I'm just trying to see here in the libs. We just need to get a get data function, and if you just go back to our Notion, now if you just go under Notion and you go on top here, let's first go to this first one. Okay, so you just see that if you just go back to here, you said we have this function called helper functions, this one. Onto this one, you see we have this helper. We have this. So you click on this here, and then you have these functions here. If you go down, we have one for not reusable form components. I want helper functions. So when you go to helper functions, we have different functions that we have been using all this time. The API request. Now, one of them, we have the generate initials. We have this get data function. We have the get data. The get data function is designed to asynchronously fetch data from a specific API endpoint. It uses fetch function to get the request provided, ensuring cache and blah blah. Okay, so we have this. We can use this function, and if you look at this function, really is a simple function which is getting data from a specific endpoint, and it is here. Okay, it's saying await, fetch, and blah blah. It fetches from API, and then whichever endpoint you pass in here, it is where they are going to fetch. Let's first have this function and show you how it works. So I'm just going to go to this lib and just create get data, get data dot js, and then here we just have this, and we're exporting it so that we can use it anywhere. Get data, it takes in an endpoint, and it has this base URL, and just like await fetch and base URL, and then API. Of course, everything just going to be fetching is in API, and then it passes the endpoint, and then it returns the data. You can see here, and it returns your data. Now let's test it. For instance, onto this page. Okay, let's get like all get all users. So const, for instance, users is equal to get data. Of course, supposed to be await. Okay, await get data. Okay, and then we pass in the endpoint, for instance, users. Okay, so the endpoint you pass in is the endpoint that is in the API folder. If you pass in banners, we get banners. If you pass in categories, so of course you have to make this one async, async, and that's the advantage of using these the server components. You can fetch data direct like this. They just go ahead and console.log, for instance, users. Okay, so I'm just going to go actually here. I'll not even refresh. I'll just go down on the console, and let's see. Scroll down, compiling API users, and they just wait a second. And okay, so we have this, but we have the users. So finally we have the users here. You can see we have this list of all users. Okay, hooks can only be called inside the body component. This could happen for y, react to render, blah blah. Type error country properties of use state, I don't know, new farm form. Okay, so we have this. On this point, we are fetching the data. Okay, we are fetching the data for all users. So how do we get data for one user or one specific user? Because we need to get the data for this farmer, this specific farmer. Okay, now for this case, of course, we need to get with a role. Okay, we need to get the user. Now for this specific endpoint, we need to get a user, or we need to get a farmer. Okay, so we might just go ahead and maybe we just go to the farmer API where we have like farmers. I think we can just go and create an ID. So create a new folder, and this folder just create just ID, just like this, and then just go ahead and call this route dot js just like that, and it's just going to be a get function. So I'm just going to get anywhere you have a gate, just here, this gate here, and just go on to this here and simply pass in this. Here we want a specific user. That means we must have an ID. As you can see here, it's our farmers, then ID. So we must have an ID, and so you can just say params. We can just also pass in the params, and then we can just also get the ID just like that. And after getting this ID here, we can now come here and we get const. We could just even call him farmer, and is going to be await user. Okay, user, and yes, we're going to say here, of course, db. This was supposed to be db dot user dot find unique. So this is going to be find unique. We want to find only one person. Where, so here is going to be where. So we say where ID. Okay, so we could just pass in also this just say where. Okay, this is suppose an object where ID, okay, is ID, and role is equal to farmer. Okay, so you could just do something. I know it's supposed to be like equals or just like this. Just a second, guys. I think just like farmer. Okay, so if we just found this ID, it must occupy this. Okay, it must find this specific user. Okay, because and I don't think we need the role. Okay, because we cannot have two users having the same ID. I think this is not also necessary. Okay, I'm just going to return here farmer or whatever, and I'm just going to copy this very function. Just copy this. I'm just going to add it in a users. So where we have users, just add a new folder ID. Just add ID just like that. Then inside this ID, let's just put route.js, and then just say paste this. Okay, so this is getting a single user. Okay, this is getting a single user. I'm just going to say user, and there is no need of passing this role because we can't have users with the same. Okay, so just here we have this. So this one is going to give us a specific user, and you can see specific it takes in an ID. Okay, and if I just want to get this farmer, let's just go for instance to a list of farmers. Here let's just see here users. So we have this user who is a farmer here. So I just go and say copy this ID. Okay, and then just say go to users and then specific ID, just like that. Let's see if we can get a single farmer. And this is not there. API users ID. And just say what is the problem. Just see here what is the problem we are getting. DB is not defined, so just come here, make sure this DB is imported, guys, otherwise we cannot perform any queries. And also this next response, make sure we have it. Yep, so I think we are good to go now. And this is fetch to fetch user. Okay, and you can also do this in the farmer. I don't think these were there, so but I don't think we need even this endpoint. I don't think we need it. Just leave it there, but we might just remove this endpoint for the farmer. We just only need it for the user. Even we wanted a list of farmers, we can still get them from the user's endpoint. So this, I'm just going to delete this. Okay, just go ahead and delete that. We don't need a specific farmer. We can just get him from here. So you have this user right now. Just go back and refresh this page. Okay, let's just see. Okay, so we have this farmer. You can see this John, blah 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 blah. Okay, so if I copy this this endpoint, remember the endpoint we have here in the get data. Let me just go to the get data function. So if you just go to this lib get data, this function takes in the endpoint, and you can see this endpoint starts from base URL, which is localhost 3000, then API. So the other one starts from here on the users. So you could just copy this endpoint just the way it is. So if I just go to here, I can just say get user, and then we get data, and you can pass in this endpoint just like this. Okay, it will be users and then at a specific ID. And the good thing, we have the ID here, so that means that I can just go and specify here. Okay, so instead of just naming it like this, I'm just going to say remove this and put them like that. Okay, just paste like this, and then this one we just put brackets, and then here we put a $, and then we can capture this as an ID. Okay, just like that. So we have this now well captured. Okay, we have users and we are getting them at this, and you can just go ahead and console user, and let's go to the console to check this. Okay, make sure that you copy this ID, and let's go to the onboarding page and let's pass in this ID just like that. Okay, so we are still on this page now. If I check on the console, let's see, you can see that I have a list of users, of course, and then here we must have a user. Okay, so you have this user, as you can see, John Test at Gmail, blah 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 blah, and the role is a farmer. Okay, so we can just get this person to this point. Okay, now what we can do, of course, is that we could even just now get their name. I could just say hello John, For instance, I could just say hello. Okay, and then here I can just put the name, and I can just say user dot name. If the user exists, then get the name, just like that. Okay, and just like that, and I can put just a comma here, and let's see. Now I can just say hello John, or whatever the name is. Okay, you can see hello John, test, tell us more about yourself, or yeah, whatever just it is. And then just you can have here the farmer's full name, farmer's, all this information. But then how do we populate some of this information? Okay, because if you select the full name, he has already told us the full name is John Test. Okay, so you could just pass this data here, this user we are getting here, we can pass him to this, and I say user, and then I pass in the data of the user here. Okay, and if this data comes, what I can do is I can receive this user, and then I could just come and put this data here as default values. I can just come and I add all this data for the user here, okay, to be the default value if this is there. Okay, so now if you just go back like that, and by the way, if this is to work, we must have the same things. For instance, this is name, then they have like phone, because of course we only expect the name, and I think the email address, I guess so. Okay, you don't know if this is being transformed very well. Okay, so you can see now that we have the farmer's full name as John Test, and then we have the farmer's email as john@gmail. He has ability to change this, and also ability to change that. And you see the ones that are not there, they are empty. And this is very easy to do, is simply because in where we are receiving it here, I received it as a user, and it is very easy if you pass it in the default values, because in the default values automatically React hook form has the ability, if it finds here some values already existing, it will pass them. We do not need to come to the form itself and we check here and we pass here the default value. We don't need to do that. We simply pass it in here as default values, and the information will automatically populate here, and we have the farmer here with onboarding automatically having this. Now we are on this page and we have this ID. So how do we come to have someone to be allocated to this page? Okay, because if you just check this, we need something to be like this. Okay, I'm just going to copy this endpoint, just copy this endpoint like that. And where do I put this endpoint? I'm just going to go to the register page. Okay, I'm just going to go to the register page. Now on the register page we have to do something. Okay, we have to do something, and maybe I'm just going to what are we going to do? We might just have to first check. Okay, just go and see what we can do. So I'm just going to go to the register form somewhere. Let's see, where is the register form? I can go here and just go to register, and let's just go to register form here. Okay, so down here you can see after we have registered a person, we have this route. So I just want to route to this point here. Just going to paste this here. I want to route to onboarding, and I pass in the ID. Okay, I want to route to this when a person, but this one is only if, okay, I can just also check the role here. Okay, for instance, let's say if the user, if role is just user, okay, we might just want to route to maybe back to localhost 3000. Let's say that just go back to the home page. If the role is equal like farmer, then maybe want to route to the onboarding page. Okay, want to go to onboarding page. Let's just like we have this statement. That means that I might just check the role here to where I'm just going to push this person here. Okay, you might just like have the role here. Now you could check using this role. We have now this role that is entering. Already we have the role. Okay, I could just also check that. Okay, I could just check that, or you could even check it from the response data. In any way, you can just like whichever, just like trust this response data. So we could just come and check here an if statement, I guess maybe, and we say if. Okay, we know that we have called it response, so it is response data. Okay, or we could just even just get a user role here and say const user role is equal to response data. Okay, response data, and we know that it is on data, and then dot maybe role. So this one should give us the user role. So we could just say if the user role, or you could even just use the other role that is coming in. If the user role is equal to, and actually we just don't need to do this to query this, we can just use the upcoming role, the one that is entering here. There is this already, the role that is coming in here. Okay, and the problem is if they don't pass the role, just use this one. If someone at some point they don't pass the role, maybe by default we give it user to make sure that it is always there. Just say role equal, and then here we could just give it by default user, just like that. And then here, then we don't need to do this, we can just only compare using the role. So if we say the role is equal to user, okay, if the role is equal to user, okay, and then if this is true, then we just want to route just route them to this, maybe this normal to the normal localhost ls. Okay, ls, and then you could check if the role is also for another person or blah blah. Okay, we could just check anything else here, and then here else we could just router.push onboarding. Now onboarding, as you can see, we need a specific ID. Okay, so I need to put this dynamically. I'm just going to do this. Okay, put this dynamically, and this we can just get this from the response. So I'm just going to say $. Okay, we could get the ID if we wanted, but it is going to be on the response data dot data dot ID, I guess. Okay, and we can confirm after we have registered the person. We're just going to see what happens. Okay, okay, so here let's just go and check. So if we're just going to come to this page, let me just go to localhost. Okay, and then become a farmer. We come here to register. I'm just going to say I'm going to be calling William. So let's just say Nad. I'm just going to say William Nad. Email is going to be william@gmail.com. Password is going to be password. Okay, and then I register. Let's see. So user created, and then so you have been redirected to the onboarding. This is great. So we have been redirected to the onboarding with this ID, and hello William Nad, tell us more information. We have the farmer's full name and this farmer's email. Everything is there. So now we are able to create a user, and let's just go to confirm. We have to also register a normal person, and we see for it where are we going to be redirected. So I'm just going to go to register here, and this is the normal route for registering. And if you just go and populate any information here, okay, I'm just going to put in some data here. I'm just going to say my name is JB, and then jb@gmail.com. Password is password, and just register here. And let's see, here we are directed to the home page, and this is great. So we are now even redirecting using the role. Okay, we can redirect to different places using the role. We haven't even put any authentication, but simple logic. Now what I just want is, of course, I want to go back to onboarding, and let me get an ID for the William. I'm just going to go here, get all users here, and let's get this one for William. Okay, this ID, copy this ID, and I'm just going to go to onboarding. So just go to onboarding, and let's pass in this for William. We know we can get to this point now using the route. Okay, so we have the information. So now what next now? Because what we need is, now we should be able to push this person after they have registered from here. We need to be able to route them to the dashboard. Okay, yeah, at least we have to route them to the dashboard. Okay, so now we have this. Now we can have the user. So we just need to, we're going to put this information. Now on the farmers, I think we just need to add some more, maybe two things. First of all, we should give them a bit to add a list of crops that they cultivate, and also we have to also ask them the acreage of their land, how big their land is, yeah, and what is the main crop they are cultivating. Okay, those three things. I'm just going to quickly add them, and it is not hard, it's very easy with the UI we are having these days, the components, with the use of components. So if I just come here, new farmer form, I can quickly add in more stuff. The first thing we just want to add, let me just look at the form. So after this, okay, want to add after this contact person and blah blah. I'm just going to, before you go to the image, I guess, yeah. So before this image, I'm just going to add here some questions. For instance, I'm just going to add the acreage. Okay, the acreage. I'm just going to duplicate the text input, this one. Just put it here. So what is your acreage? What is the size of your land? Okay, maybe in acres. You land in acres. Okay, and we could just name this one as land size, and then type, we could just add number, avoid them putting many things. This one, land size, and then we could also add what is the main crop they grow. Okay, and we say, what would you say is your main crop? What is your main crop that you cultivate? Maybe this is a question. You don't need to add this if you are just but I'm just like putting this, and then you just say main crop. Okay, and then here this one is going to be text. Okay, so down here just going to add the all other crops. Now to add this, we just need to use the one that add the tags. Someone can add, they can add their crops they want. Maybe they have a list of crops that they cultivate. We could just go ahead and we just say add crops. So here just going to use the array input here, array items here, array items input, just like this. And this one takes in 3 things. Just copy like that, and just come and pass them here. Set items, so just going to just call them here set crops. So we'll have, okay, const crops, set crops, and this one could be a list of products they provide, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call them crops, because, and we could just say products. Actually, just say products. Say it, because you might be having meat. Say it products, as you are going to see, like we have also meat. Set products, and this one is going to be use state, and then by default let's give it an empty, just like that. And then we just simply pass this in here in the array input, set, and then this one set items, and we pass set products. Okay, and then for the items, okay, we just pass in the products. Okay, products, just like that. Item title, I'm just going to call this product. Okay, product. Okay, so you just pass this. Now adding those ones, they will quickly actually add themselves here, and you can see the size, and you have also add product looking great. Okay, you can see how quickly we can add these ones. Now take a note that we had not considered these ones, so we have added 3 things. I think we have added main crop, land size, and products. Yeah, and products. So you could just come and add here, more especially the products. So data dot products, okay, dot products, okay, is equal to products, okay, to products, just like that. And we have added it here, and now we have to see where are we sending this data. If you look at this, we are sending it API farmers. So you have to go to this size, and we get all these 3 things: the products, land size, and main crop. Okay, so just go to API farmers route here. We just have to add 3 things that you have added. I'm just going to add them at the end here. as a new farmer. Okay, so I'm just going to come here. We have added products, and we have also added land size, and then we have also added the main crop, just like that. And these three things, just copy them. Let's add them. Now, where do we add these ones? Okay, and what are we going to update? Okay, because now we're just going to see now. And by the way, there is one thing that we need to put here, and I will explain it in a second, but just get these three things and put them under farmer profile, because these ones are under farmer profile. So just in the Prisma, okay, and farmer profile. Where is the farmer profile? Just go down here, farmer profile. Let's add these three things here. Okay, we have the products. So the product, this one is going to be an array of string, and this is going to be an array. And then of course remove these commas, these ones. Now land size is going to be a float. Okay, so this one is going to be a float, and then main crop is a string. Okay, so this one is a string. Okay, this strings is just like this, string, an array of strings, just like this. Now one thing that you notice in the farmer profile, let me just go down, is that you must have a user ID. Okay, so if you just look at the way we set this, we are not having a user ID. So I'm just going to go to this the register farmer here. Okay, you can see in this new farmer here, we are passing in the user. Okay, so now you can just go to this new farmer, which is actually this one. You see we are spreading here. We can also add the user ID in this data here. Okay, we can just add the user ID. So you can just say data, okay, dot user ID, okay, is equal to user dot ID, user dot ID, just like that. We must capture this the user ID from the user, and this user is the one that is entering from here. We can just have that user ID. If you wanted to also, you could use a hidden feature. We could just have here a hidden input for the user ID. If you don't want to pass in via here, remember you are passing it in here. Okay, you are passing it in here. If you pass in it here and you have it in the form, okay, for instance, let me show you a simple technique. Let me just remove this. Okay, I'm just removing it from here. Okay, and I'm just going to just come here, for instance, just come down here. Let's put the first thing as user ID, for instance, user ID, and then just put a name, and this name is going to be user, and it's going to be ID. Okay, now that's what the problem, it comes as ID. Okay, so we don't need to use this, but if I wanted to show you here, if I say ID, just like that, and let's go and see, maybe we could just refresh, but you can see the user ID is there. Okay, the user ID is there. So the problem is that if we change the name here to user ID, it will disappear, because on the actual user we are calling it user ID. So the easiest way, I think, is getting it from here. data dot user id is equal to user dot id. Just as simple as this. Okay, and then here you can just remove it from here, but I wanted to show you that the user id is already there on the user, so we can also just get it from here and we can send it. Okay, we can send this user id here, and this is very important. So you just go to this if you go to this endpoint, just go to API farmers. Here we just have to have a user ID. So we have user ID. Make sure that this user ID we have here is exactly the one we have in the Prisma schema. Just always be curious here, the user ID here. Now we can just use this user ID in a very interesting way. Okay, we're just going to see what we are going to do here. Okay, instead of create, we might just have to perform a different thing, and I feel like this information is too much to be abstracted like this. I feel like we can just simply instead of having cluttering all this code, just going to have it as farmer data. You don't even need to abstract it. We just say farmer data, but for us we know that this farmer data is this one. Let me just specify it here. Okay, I'm just going to specify it here. Just inside here, just add this. Okay. So we have all this data here. Okay, so when we are creating the farmer, it's only just going to specify all these fields here. Okay. Now, after getting all this information, okay, we have all this information here. I guess a user can add like a crop, create a product, and maybe they say they have cabbages. Okay, they have cabbages, and they can just say we have meat, we provide also meat, and maybe they say we also have carrots. Okay, this is just like to know like some more details about this farmer, like of which products they can do or whatsoever. Okay, we can have that also in place, but if we just see down here, okay, if we just down here we have the user's profile image, blah blah. Now how do we add this? Because this is a user profile, we are supposed to update. Okay, we are supposed to update or upsert. Now either according to this how we have planned this, there is no one who can come to this page and they don't have the profile. We are just going to test if this ID does not exist. If they come just here and it doesn't exist, we have to show something here. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is this one is going to be updating. If you just think about it, we are updating the profile, or we are creating a profile where, okay, we are updating a profile where, because all these details we are adding here, they must be in the profile. Okay, if you just come here, if you just come here to this, okay, if you just come here on this farmer profile, so we just have to come here on this profile and update it. Okay, just going to go here and we update it with all that information that we have. Okay, and since it is going to be we have to update a profile where this, okay, we have to update a profile where this user ID we are going to be referring to this user ID. Okay, update profile where user ID is equal to this. Let's try that. First of all, since we added some new things here, we added these products, land and blah blah. Let's try to do what? And this active is active. I just leave it there anyways. We just need to run. We have to update. Did we? No, we have to update the database with this new schema. So I'm just going to stop this. Okay, I'm just going to stop that and then run npx prisma db push, and when that one is done, simply run npm run dev, just like that. So just run that. Okay, this is going to help us update the schema. Okay, this is going to help us update the schema. Okay, so meanwhile, we just need to prepare ourselves. After updating this, there's one more thing we are remaining with. If this ID doesn't exist, if someone passes in any ID, we have to show them a 404. We can just like show them a 404 page anyways. I don't know at this point what it would show them. Okay, but I just go ahead and tell it generated and it is running the server. Meanwhile, they just be writing the code for the updating this. Okay, and to be able to see that very well, you need to come here. Okay, it is good, I think, to the best practice is whereby you copy just like this. Okay, because this is, you are very sure you are updating the actual thing. So this we have to update a user. Because this is first of all, the profile, I don't know, this profile does not exist. As you see, like this ID, the profile does not exist. Okay, so that means we have to create the profile. Okay, we have to simply create a farmer's profile. I think we just with the user ID. Okay, let's just go and see. Did I copy all this information? Yeah, so you can just copy this information like this, and why I'm copying it is just because I want to look at it's good to look at the stuff. So I'm just going to go at the farmers, and now where we have this new farmer, you can just simply remove this object. Okay, you can simply remove this object and you can just say await. Okay, and db, so you are going to have like db dot so we have this called farmer profile. So you know, if it remains like this, sometimes I really get confused with this stuff, the syntax. Dot create, so want to create a profile, and of course we pass in the data, and then in the data of course is an object. So you pass in something like this. You have to remember that this is code is a string, so these ones have no problem, the ones are like the string. And since we save them on the farmer, So it will be, for instance, farmerdata.code. So code here, you would put this farmerdata.code. Okay, the same thing, contact person, you would pass in farmerdata.contact person, just like that. Okay, and I could just go ahead and put this one, farmerdata, okay, dot contact person phone, and then we have profile image, and this one is going to be profile image, so it is going to be farmer data dot profile, I think profile image. Let me see, are we getting it as profile image? Yeah, profile image URL, then there is email. Okay, so email is going to be also farmer data dot email, then there is name, farmer data dot name, and then we have these other ones. So we have the notes. Okay, farmer data dot notes. Okay, we have phone, which is also a string. Here, like farmer data dot phone, physical address, just like, you know, farmer data dot physical address. Okay, then this one is terms, is also a string, so you say farmer data dot terms. Then we have is active. This is going to, of course, farmer data dot is active. Products, the same thing, is going to be farmer data dot products, and then this float. And the reason why I put this float is because for it you have to first actually pass float, like to convert it into float, and then it's going to be farmer data dot land size, and then finally we have this main crop, and you can just see it is farmer data dot main crop. Okay, so let's see here, we just need commas, I guess. Just put here, and you can just put a marked cursor, and then put the comma at once. Okay, just like that, just put a comma. Okay, and this one is supposed to have this. Okay, just save this, and okay, so we have this now done very well. We have this new farmer. Okay, so just going to create a farmer profile. Okay, and we are remaining with only one thing, which is the user ID. So of course we're supposed to pass in the user ID, so just come here and you say user ID. So user ID is going to be farmer dot user ID, as simple as that. So we have all this information, and this user ID is important because we can filter by the user ID. Okay, we can filter all farmers profiles using the user ID. So you can just have new farmer profile. So here, this is a new farmer profile, and you can just also return it just like that. Okay, so after that, we have this. I think everything looks great. We can just go ahead and test it out. Okay, so the only thing is this endpoint is farmers. We are sending it to the farmers. So if you go to new farmer form, we are sending to API farmers and blah blah. Okay, so you could just say here, this is farmer profile, whether you want to put here farmer profile, and you can have the redirect, and you can see it is redirecting to dashboard farmers. Okay, so now let's just go and see if this makes sense. Okay, you can just refresh here. And let me hope we have the server running very well, I guess. Let's just confirm and see if this is still working properly. The page is we're refreshing the page. Let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see. Okay, so I don't think this is going to work for the first time, but let's just try to see if this can work. Okay, so we have our form here as NAT. I'm just going to add in some other details like a random phone number here, maybe 09. This is a random number, and the farmer physical address. Can put in any name, contact person, maybe Gerard, and then Gerard's phone number is any number there. The size of land, I just put 3 acres, and here we plant maybe cabbage, and add some crops, and I just add here, for instance, cabbage, and I just also add broccoli maybe, and then I just add spinach, and just like spinach. Okay, just like that. I add. Okay, so can I move on the profile image? I just upload the image of this farmer. And it can be just any random image. It doesn't necessarily need we put a serious image for this. Just can just have like any random thing, just like this one. Okay, just upload, and just want to put any random image, and we first test out if this endpoint really works. I'm just image upload failed, please contact upload thing blah blah typeset is not a function. So you might just need to look at that. I just go ahead and put some payment terms, and I think someone who had said that you click and submit, you can see here it gives you an error before you reach that part. They just have here some terms here and some notes. Just look at that image in a second. And I don't know if an image is a must. Is it a must? Let's just look at this in the schema. Okay, profile image is not a must, so we don't need to. Even if we submit, we can still get it. And if you check here, it was uploaded. You can see here the image is here, but I think what is not set properly, I'm just going to check this form very fast. I think this register, not register farmer. Which form is that? New farmer form. I think we don't have, we are calling it profile image. Okay, and the error they gave us is that set image URL is what we had called it. Okay, so here just simply say set image URL, and then here set image URL, set image URL. Now what changes is basically here, okay, is going to be image URL. Okay, and then also on the image, what we pass in is here. Now these two here, we could just have the image URL and also set image URL, set image URL. Now the name endpoint remains. Yeah, so everything now remains just like that. I think it will work. We'll test it later on. Right now what I just want is to see this form submitting it, and we see what happens. Okay, and unfortunately all the information went. Okay, I'm just going to simply copy this name of William Nad. I just never wanted to change this name, but they have ability to change everything actually here. If I just do this, you can see you can change even this, but I just put back the name of William Nad to just remember William Nad, and then the email, I just change the email and see. Okay, they just create. Something went wrong. They just look at the problem here very fast, and a DB is not defined. Okay, so just go here, let's check that endpoint here, and this DB, just get it here. Let's try one more time. Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, I think it has finished saving. Let's just take and see, create. Okay, something went wrong this side. This time new farmer profile is not defined. Now I suspected that also new farmer, but the profile I think was created. Did it? Reference new farmer profile is not defined. Let's just see. So we have this new farmer, const farmer data. So here this is new farmer profile. Okay, new farmer profile, just like this. So this one is the one we are supposed to pass in down here. console.log and then console.log. Okay, let's try to see. I guess it was not created. I don't know why we have this, but just go ahead and try to create this. Did it, let's say, this time, this invocation, unique constraint field, farmer profile, key, blah blah, farmer profile. I'm not getting the error here. Oh, I think we have already created this farmer. Okay, so we have already maybe this farmer in the database, and we can just confirm that by getting this a get function. Okay, let me just go to any of these ones like coupons, copy the get method and just put it on this. Okay, let's just put this gate profiles, just call them profiles. Okay, is db dot farmer profile. Okay, I think that's the name we gave it here, maybe farmer profile dot find many, just like that, then return these profiles. Okay, let's just go and check this here where we have the data API farmers. Just first have this, see if there is already some data. Yeah, so we already have this stuff here. You see this, we have the code, contact person, the image, then email, this notes, terms, we have main crop, use ID, all this land, and then the products we did not add, that's why you have the empty array, but we already have this person. I think that's why it is telling us. Let's try to create a different person, and this is because I think of the email. If you check the email, and we are supposed to also check it here. Okay, I think we have the email, and this email must be, I don't think we need this one to be unique. If you check in the database, okay, if we check in the database, maybe by the way it is just okay, because we don't want a person who would have create the same to create a new profile when they already existing in the schema. I think we have someone email, which is actually just like a string, a normal string here. Okay, but just they just change the data. I'm just going to prefill, put some new data. Okay, and this time we just add some products, cabbage, carrots. Okay, and let me just go ahead and the image beside, let's say if the image is going to upload, just add any image here like this. Okay, upload. Let's see now this time if the image is going to upload. Yeah, okay, so you can see the image. You can see that the image uploaded, and then you can just go ahead put this, and then we say creating farmer, please wait. Okay, something went wrong again. Okay, let's just go and confirm this time what is the problem. So there is something we have here which is saying that a unique constraint failed on the constraint user ID key. So farmer, oh okay, so yeah, we are creating, I think we are creating the person with all the same use ID. Okay, I understand now. We are creating uh, actually doesn't make sense. You can see we are just on the same person here. Okay, you cannot create multiple profiles when you actually have that. We are supposed to actually check that, but you can see right now actually it is good that it added only once and it is not adding any more time. We are supposed to capture that onto the UI, but this makes absolute sense because this person with this user ID already has a profile. Okay, so now they cannot what we should do is maybe do upsert. If a person with this profile already exists, we simply edit the data rather than just like doing this. Okay, but to demonstrate, we can just create a new user this time. Let me just go back home to register farmer. So I'm just going to go to register farmer. Okay, I'm going to go register farmer. Let's create a new farmer. I don't mind, whichever case. Just come here and refresh. Okay, just have Tendo email, Tendo at gmail.com, password, and just register. Okay, and after registering the farmer, user created, and now we bring them this site. Okay, this time let's just try actually to add some more details. Phone number, just add that. Okay, and then physical address, maybe I don't know, anywhere you want to put Gerard 07 blah blah, and you just go down here and you can size maybe 4 carrots. They just add carrots, and they just add also maybe meat. Okay, just like that. Okay, and for the image, they just add the image. I just add this for the meat, doesn't matter. Okay, we have this. Okay, uploaded successfully. Here some terms, we can just add some terms here. Just add here some notes. Okay, and then status is active. So just go ahead, create farmer profile, and you can see now new farmer profile created successfully, and this is great. Okay, this is great. Now we're supposed, of course, to so at the end of the day, we redirect to this dashboard. So you can see here we have redirected to the dashboard, and yeah, so this is good. We have this new profile created, and we have all this. If I just go now check, we have the second profile now for this contact person. We have the image, all this kind of stuff. The products, we have the size, main, crop, user ID, and blah blah. So we have all this data, and I like the fact that now we are able to redirect here and there. We can create users depending on the using their roles. Okay, so if you have learned a lot from this video, give it a like. Okay, give it a thumbs up. It is really worth it. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe so that you can continue creating more content. You can also register for the course. I will leave the link down below. You can suggest also your idea, and you can also join the WhatsApp group. Thank you so much for watching this episode. See you in the next one.